So when I work with organisations and I'm consulting around talent, one of the things I tend to work on with many organisations is getting their basic philosophies around talent and performance right, because you tend to find if you start building any kind of processes or tools or practices, unless you've got a real clear sort of founding philosophy, some of these things don't sort of always make sense and don't connect. So I spend a lot of time working with the CEO, CPO, senior teams. Okay, let's just get clear. Are we all aligned on what is your philosophy around these things? And without going into too much detail, I'll give you an example. So for example, I'll say, okay, talent. Who is talent in your organisation? And often they'll say, oh, well, there's a small group of people who we would call talent. And I say, okay, so if that's talent, what are you calling everybody else? So they're like the untalented, the talentless. And then they sort of, oh, no, that's not a good idea. So generally, we come to the general view that everyone in the organisation, by definition, should be talent. I mean, you should not be hiring in people to your organisation who are untalented at every level. We want talent. But talent means different things. So what we tend to then look at is, well, how do I segment the talent that we have? And because you need different things from your people, this is where the segmentation comes in really important. So typically, I see organisations tend to segment their talent in sort of 4 key ways. And I suppose the most popular one, the one that people would generally recognise, is this idea of high potential. So some proportion of your talent, so your total organisation, are high potential. Now, it varies, but I would say 10, 15, maybe 20% of your people at any one time would be high potential. And high potential is by definition a dynamic thing. If you're high potential today, it doesn't always mean you're going to be high potential in the future, because high potential means your ability to navigate to the next role. So it's a little bit role specific. Just because you're high potential now doesn't mean you'll be high potential in the future. It's sort of context specific. Potential for what? Potential for a role. So high potential, very important talent segment. Who are the people in the organisation who have got the right kind of mindset, abilities, skills, aptitudes to move much, much quicker, like 3, maybe 4 times quicker than your average person? So we're getting people more quickly, acquiring roles and experiences more quickly. So you've got a very, very experienced group of people with the right skills and experiences to lead the organisation in the future. So high potential, first talent segment. Second talent segment we talked about is people with critical skills. So there'll be certain people in the organisation that if they're not showing up for work tomorrow, your organisation isn't going to function. So again, it's by definition quite a small group of people, but they're the people who have got the critical skills and abilities to get the job done. And they won't be the most obvious people. So a good example would be, if your store manager who has the key isn't turning up and opening the store doesn't work. So, who are the people in the organisation who've got those metaphorical keys to allow you to actually to operate, or not just operate, but actually to be hyper competitive? So again, have an understanding of your strategy, your competitive advantage. What are those skills that you've got to continue to grow and retain? And those are the people you need to think about. Okay, we need to retain these people, because the chances are if they've got critical skills, they've got a high value in the marketplace, and other people might want those critical skills. So how you're retaining and making sure that knowledge isn't walking out the door. So high potential, first one. Next one, critical skills. The third one, which is less obvious, is critical relationships. They may be people who just know people, who've got relationships maybe with institutions or with the government, and they've just got a reputation. It could be that they've got a certain nationality, or maybe they're a member of the sort of the owning family. But there's some people who've got critical relationships, and that shouldn't be underestimated. So it's important those people are understood, because those are the things that potentially can be real derailers for organisations if they're not at least examined and understood. So high potential, critical skills, critical relationships. And then the last category, which is by far the majority of the organisation, is what you call the key contributor. So everybody else should be a key contributor. They should be in a role where they're clear what they're trying to do. They've got goals, they've got objectives, they've got good performance management, they've got development, they've got support, because they're the people who are the backbone of your organization. They're people who are day in, day out, probably serving customers or manufacturing things or moving things. So it's very important that you're clear about those people, and it is the majority, but it's the people who actually run your business. And again, having a sense of who these people are and how they work and how they operate is really, really important. So everyone is talent, but if you segment your organization correctly, you can then start to think about, okay, what's my differentiated development philosophy for those people, because they'll need development in different ways. What's my remuneration philosophy? Because again, you may decide to pay and reward them in different ways. So your talent segmentation really starts to drive to the heart of your people strategy to say, well, how do I actually get the most out of this people based on the different talent segments that exist? Hope that's helpful.